Welcome, everyday leaders. Today is Thursday, April the 23rd. I got that right today. I'm so excited. Here it is. We're still in quarantine. It's going on week 6, and I wanted to bring you value tonight. So I've been doing lots of things this week, connecting you to so many great leaders, everyday leaders from the 50 and 50 podcast. I have another one of those that has some great news to share. Since she came on the podcast originally, she was an author, she is an inspirer, she's an entrepreneur, and now she has written another book that's going to help us through this COVID-19. So, Traci Sanders, thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your journey with us of what's going on.
Absolutely. From Georgia. Can let you know what's going on in Georgia.
From Georgia. We've had people from all over the world, Italy, Canada, Texas, New York, Oregon. So now here we are with Traci from Georgia. And it's so interesting because I think things are changing depending upon where we live geographically. And so I just heard something that said they were going to open up Georgia. Your governor is going to open back up Georgia. How do you feel about this? What's going on? What's the pulse down there right now?
So we have mixed emotions. First of all, thank you, Melanie, for having me. You know, I love to connect with you. We've done a few projects together. But yeah, Georgia is, they're very outspoken. We are very outspoken people. We have some people on one side of the fence who are saying, don't judge us for wanting to open our businesses back up. We need to feed our families. And we have others who are like, no, we want to protect our families. I'm not leaving my home and you shouldn't leave your home either. So both sides of the fence there. Governor Kemp has decided to partially open up Georgia, I think. They're doing like phases. So right now, I believe it's hair salons and nail salons and things like that.
Wow. So what does that mean for you?
I'm going to be honest. I feel very blessed that this hasn't affected my life too much. Thankfully, I've had two friends who had the virus. They've recovered since. One was a elderly guy, so I was a little bit worried about him. But it hasn't really affected my family too much. Everybody's safe. Everybody's healthy. My husband is an essential worker. So are my sons. So that's been, a blessing. And I've still been able to see my granddaughter because, we're all in the family anyway. So I've been very blessed by that. But I know I've been connecting with a lot of my friends who are having very different situations, being laid off from work and things like that. And I've been working from home in some capacity for like 20 years. So I was blessed in that aspect too. So what I'm doing is just reaching out and being a friend and helping where I can.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important. Those of us that have learned, right? We've been conditioned. I'm not going to say that this is easier for us. It's just that we know how to respond to be able to help others right now because it is really, really changed the world. Here we go into the theme of our Everyday Leaders Summit this year was change the world to give to others. And just 2 weeks after the summit, everything changed. Every single person's life in the world changed, not just in Indiana or Georgia. And so I think it's in our capacity, right? As leaders, we have to figure out what does that actually look like in our own life? And so many people have been affected and bringing their workplaces to their homes, teaching their kids the rest of the school year for education. And so you have done so many things as an author. First of all, you had your own daycare. And so for people that have not listened to your podcast or they don't know your story, you started out really thinking about how do I design something that I love to do and bring it inside of my house. And so I want you to go listen to Traci's podcast, first of all, because you're going to learn a ton about leadership. And then you became an author through all this and started to really connect to what your story was. And lately, you have started other things of your entrepreneurial skills and leading people through healthy choices, right? Healthy living and healthy environments. And so it's really great because you're just feeding and living your passion. And so many people say, yeah, but you make it look so easy. You make it look so easy, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about what's going on. Like, what do you struggle with? Because, yeah, your transition is you're living at home. It's not a big deal. but everything else has changed. The way that you have to show up for other people has changed.
Mhm. Yeah, so how I connect with people in my business, how I've stayed in touch with my customers, how I've stayed in touch with my friends and family and people like that. Not being able to hug my mom and dad and my sisters, we're all very huggy people. That's definitely been a change. I haven't seen them, my parents, in a couple of months, I believe it's been, and normally it's at least once a month. And my husband's parents, I haven't seen them in months. So that's been, different for me as well. So, and being able to keep in touch with them with the grandkids pictures and stuff like that, that's been something I need to stay on top of. But for the most part, I mean, my daughter has been doing online school for 6 years. So thankfully that wasn't something that we had to transition to in this crazy crisis time. I could not imagine what those people were doing. The teachers scrambling to put curriculum together and the parents scrambling to even find a computer. I remember when we started, the online schooling, we had to go buy new laptops for all 3 kids, because we tried the whole sharing laptop. That did not work. So I know exactly where these parents are coming from, except even in my book, my new book, I mentioned it's not the same thing. Just like we've heard many people reach out and say, hey, this is not homeschooling. Please do not think of homeschooling like this, right? And I'm from both sides of the fence because I used to be very against homeschooling when I had the daycare. My kids were in public school. I was like, no, that's just, it's just not the right way to do it. It's just lazy, whatever, schooling or whatever, right? I had all these preconceived notions. I was closed-minded. But then I've met so many amazing people in the homeschool community who have poured their heart and their resources and their time and just free, giving away everything they can, curriculum and stuff that they don't need to help these people out, to help these parents who are dealing with this. Because I can't imagine what it is. Because when we chose to do it, it wasn't like, we had to do it. We weren't thrown into it haphazardly. We had planned to do it and we set some things up. These people didn't have time. The teachers didn't have time. The admins didn't have time. The students didn't have time. So, it's been a very challenging situation for them, I imagine. So that's who I'm reaching out to right now, asking, how are you doing with the e-learning? I'm happy to help you in any way. Because even little things that I talk about in the book is like Zoom. Adults had to get used to Zoom, of making sure you're wearing pants. You know what I'm saying? Making sure, right? Making sure your camera's not still on when or your microphone's not still on whenever you're talking to your family, right? Things like that. And these are things that they've never had to deal with before. So all those things I was thinking about.
It's so important. So onto your new book, right? I want everybody that's on here right now, before you hop off or you're looking at this, you just joined us. Traci has written a new book and it's available on Kindle. And so I'm going to put it down here. It's Rise Up Mamas. So tell us about this. When did you start writing this, first of all?
You're going to think I'm kind of crazy because I'm the type of person who doesn't sit down to write. Like, I don't just sit down and say, I'm going to write a book. I actually resisted this book with every fiber of my being because I was going through the COVID situation. I've been quarantined. Okay. So my daughter and I have been home. My husband's been working a lot because he's an essential worker. So he hasn't been home a lot. And so I couldn't figure out why I was getting so upset. And I said, my family's safe. My friends are safe. I don't know what's bothering me. I even remember calling my mother last Friday. This was just a week ago, you guys. Called her Friday morning. I said, Mama, I don't know what's wrong. I want you to pray with me. I don't know why I'm so upset. And she goes, honey, maybe you're just stressed out and you don't realize it. I said, I don't think that's what it is. I said, I'm on the verge of tears all the time. I feel so helpless. Like I'm the type of person, I want to be out there helping people materially. I want to be volunteering and helping people, but I couldn't put my family at risk. And more so, I was thinking, my family will be okay. I think we'll be okay because we're taking precautions, but I didn't want to be a carrier. Right. So that was something I was concerned about. And then bringing it back to my granddaughter or my daughter or anybody. And so I was feeling helpless. And I'm sure a lot of people might be feeling this way right now because they can't make masks. Like I can't sew to save my life. But I wanted to find a way to help. And my mom's like, just pray about it, just sleep on it. Maybe you're just stressed out and you don't know it. Well, my husband came home and came to bed Saturday morning, because I say Saturday night, but it was really Sunday morning. And he's like talking to me. He gets philosophical when he comes to bed. He stays up late on the weekends and then he comes and talks to me about the most ridiculous things. And he starts telling me, you're limiting yourself again. I said, what? I'm asleep. What are you talking about? And he says, Traci, you're thinking too small again. I've been watching you. I know something's bothering you. And he says, I honestly think you have another book in you. I said, you are crazy. I haven't written a book in 3 years. I don't feel like I have a book in me right now. I was mad. I was mad at him because I thought he was just nitpicking at me, right? And I was annoyed, very annoyed. And by Sunday at lunchtime, I had already outlined 15 chapters of this book. And I was like, it just poured out of me. He goes, see, don't you feel better? I was like, yeah. So that's what it was. It was a book. It was greatness coming out of me. And it was God speaking to me when I finally allowed myself to hear it, and hear the message that he had for me. It was like, this is the perfect time. In fact, it's a little bit late in the timing. I probably resisted it a little bit too long because it's almost not the right timing, but we're coming out of it. Some people are. But my husband, like he told me, he said, Traci, you got to think, again, you're thinking small. He said, this is not just a book for right now. This is a book for any world crisis that comes up. This is a book to help any parent in future generations. Our grandkids are going to look back and know what happened in this situation, right? They're going to know what COVID-19 was. Here's the thing, though. Amazon almost didn't publish it because I had mentioned COVID-19. They held it, and they made me change the verbiage.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. So if you're looking at the screen right now, it's called Rise Up Mamas, and it's available on Amazon on Kindle. So if you go there, if I just Googled it and I was like, oh, Rise Up Mamas, and it came up Traci. Rise Up Mamas, Traci. Because you need to go check this out, because I think this is going to be really amazing just to have content around what's going on, and really just give you some foundation, right? If it's poured out of you, you were in having a business around having kids in your house. And then you've gone from homeschooling your kids, right? And giving some guidance to these parents that are going through this for the first time, maybe ever in their life. They've been busy working, and now everybody's at home. So your life is changing, and how do you have to step into being a leader, right, in your home? So when you say 15 chapters poured out of you, how so the therapeutic side of this, right? I'm sure that you felt like everything was lifting off of your shoulders.
Yeah.
But all this deep inside that you wanted to get out, but you didn't know how.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And it was like a huge weight lifted off me. I got my message out. And it just felt so good to do that, because I knew that this doesn't have to be a long novel to be valuable, right? It's 85 pages. It's a short read. People don't have the attention span or the energy or the time like to devote to that, to read a novel right now. They need things to keep them busy, but they also need tools. And that is what this thing is loaded with. I mean, it talks about everything from the e-learning process to certain foods that can sustain your family, because I come from a large family. I know about that. I know about how to budget meals and things like that to feed more people and to make 2 meals out of one thing, because I had to do that for the daycare for all those years. I put things in there about how to entertain your little ones so that you can be with your older kids and know how to help them through their learning process. Because you got little ones running around. You're also trying to work, right, on the side. Like maybe you have to work from home, or maybe you have a home-based business like I do, and you're trying to figure out how to deal with them, right? I mean, I'm thankful now that I don't have little ones underfoot right now anymore when I'm trying to work my business. It's one thing to have a daycare, and that's the theme of your day, but it's another thing to be trying to work on the computer, do a Zoom call, and you got a little one crawling around. So I know how that is on the days I have my grandbaby, so I can't get much of anything done on those days. So I've been in all these stages, and I feel like if we don't share our wisdom and our insight with people to help them through those stages, I feel like it's a little bit selfish. And that might have been what was bothering me so much, because I was resisting it so much, and God was telling me, that's pretty selfish of you, and I was battling that a little bit. So.
But now it's out, right? And so as a writer, though, for so many people that might be saying, I feel like you do, Traci. I feel exactly like there's a burden on my heart. I can't make a mask. I am not domestic. I don't know what I can do. I feel isolated. I can't be with my family. I am so sick of getting on virtual training, virtual anything. I need people. I need somebody just to be in my space, even if it's 6 foot
Yeah.
away. I need someone, to get me through this. And so it's really difficult because we all deal with things differently. And I think, we think of isolation, and for those of us that have worked at home for years and that are used to this virtual space, it's also exhausting. Like, just because we've done it and we've been conditioned for it, it's still, there's
Mhm.
no release. There's no Saturday to go to the park. There's no weekend getaway to go do something different, to go to an amusement park or to take a drive and, go what we would go to as like a county area or shopping center or the lake. You can't even do that. And so
Right.
the strategies in this book are really going to help people say, okay, if you have to stay at home, if you have to be isolated, these are really great tips to be able to say you can be more effective
Mhm.
so that you can feel like you have some control over the things that you
Yes.
have to do, right? Right now we have to survive. We're in this survival mode.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I even have a few chapters in there on things like how to stay connected to people, even though you're social distancing, how to talk to your teens about this situation, because I'm doing that as well. I have a 14-year-old daughter who I ask her questions all the time. How do you feel about what's going on? What do you think the government should be doing in this situation? How do you think they should be handling it? And it makes them feel respected, and it doesn't make them feel so out of control. She's calm. She's not worried about anything, as far as I can tell. And it's just the two of us here most of the time. So I can tell if something's bothering her. And for the most part, she's pretty calm about everything, and she's very level headed. But there are things in there even about, how to stay healthy, how to boost your immune system, because I'm in health and wellness, how to make money from home, different types of ways to do that. So lots of resources in there. My other two books are mentioned in there to be able to help parents who are potty training. It's a great time to potty train your kids. You're home with them anyway. It's warmer weather where most people are. Great time to be doing that. So I put a link in there to that. And then the Little Sponges book that has all my toddler curriculum in it and preschool curriculum. Great resources to have, and so I think this book was just the perfect resource to be able to incorporate everything. It's really truly the book that I poured the most of my entire life into before. Of
Wow.
all the 10, 11 books I've written, it's the most of me.
And sometimes you just need that opportunity that pushes you to say, well, like your husband challenged you this
Mhm.
time, right? And you love
Mhm.
challenges like I do. So that's why I
Yeah.
love you. Like, there's something in you. You got to go write this right now. And so I think
Mhm.
there's
Yeah.
probably a percentage of the population that's saying, okay, I've had all this time. I'm still working at home. I haven't cleaned out my closets. I haven't done anything
Mhm.
spectacular. I'm just kind of holding it together. Right. And at 6 weeks, it's kind of like that grieving cycle that we've been talking about every morning on the Bible study. We're like, this is change is like grief. And so
Yes.
everybody has gotten to the point where they're saying,
Mhm.
okay, great. We've dealt with it. We're strong. We believe in ourselves. We can get through this. We can get a community around us. But at some point, there is a breaking point. And you say,
Mhm.
what else is there? What else can I do? Is this going to be forever? How long? Right? What's the end game? And I think,
Yeah.
right, for leaders, you have to say, this may look like this forever. And so if it does, what are the strategies that I have to implement to be able to get through this for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years, right? Uh, and because it's just not be depressed about it and then everything's going to go back to normal because we know that that's
Mhm.
not true.
Mhm. It's
Mhm.
true. And the very first chapter of the book is called Accepting the Shift. That's the very first chapter, because I dealt with the emotional. I do mindset training and things like that all the time with people. You've got to accept the emotional side of this. It is like a grievance. It is like you are grieving a part of your life that you knew as familiar and comfortable. And we've been inconvenienced. Honestly, most of us, we've just been inconvenienced. And some of us have been even more deeply inconvenienced by losing a paycheck, losing, our jobs, being laid off or whatever. Not and little things even, I've heard it all over social media. Like, I'm not going on there complaining about it, but I'll say, hey, I really need to go get my roots done. You know what I mean? And that's what people can relate to. It is grieving something that you are comfortable with and that you've grown to accept as part of your life. Right. So once you accept the shift and understand it might be the new normal, But the new normal can be whatever we choose it to be. So many people, I'm in a group called Rise Up right now. It is amazing. It's like so many people are rising up. And that's what inspired this book title too. I was like, so many people are rising up. I am actually working on creating 2 digital courses based on 2 of my books that are already out there. A potty training course, because so many people are looking at videos right now and wanting to have it all jam-packed in an hour, rather than going to read a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is about teaching marketing to women who want to market from the heart, right? And who don't want to sound salesy, right? If they've got other businesses, because I teach women in other businesses all the time, social media marketing. But everything is shifting. We have to accept the shift, or else we'll be left behind, or even worse, we will be left static. We will be left stuck. And when people feel stuck, they can't go one way or another. They're not stuck in the past. They're just stuck in limbo. That's like the worst. It's like you're pretty much dying, and that's when you get depressed, and that's when you start having crutches with food and substances and things like that come into play, whatever. And it really does change everything. But it's all about perspective, and it's not like Little Miss Sunshine. It's more like, this sucks, but what can we do about it? There are even some tips in the book about some things to do in your home. Oh, how to keep your house clean, right? Simple, effective ways to keep your house clean, because women are dealing with that. People are dealing with that. Parents are at home and they're trying to keep their house clean. They've got all their kids home now. I dealt with that. I had kids in my home all day long. So I shared some tips in there about that. So every chapter has a specific purpose in there, and I don't feel like I left anything out, and I don't feel like I fluffed it up. So I feel absolutely at peace and in alignment with this book.
Wow. 85 short pages, right? A journal, a great workbook. I'm going to put this back on the screen here because I think it's really, really important. Let me, whoops, there we go. Let me share it. If I can, I will get back to this. So I want you to see here we go. All right. All right. So if you go to Amazon right now, you can get this on Kindle, Rise Up Mamas by Traci Sanders. And like you said, an 85-page book on what you poured your heart out to be, 15 chapters in a very short time. Because when you know your purpose, when you know exactly what you want to say, and it's on your heart, and things just start to come out, just they can flow, right? And you can't stop it. And so here if anybody's been on virtual social media and you've been part of this Rise Up community, this is the perfect time to be able to rise up as a parent, as someone that's supporting a family, even just your spouse, right? There's tips in here for everything that you can do in your life to make it better and get through any kind of time, not even just COVID-19, but any kind of struggle and change, right?
Right. Any kind of, I say world crisis, but truly it can feel like a world crisis sometimes just when your family's going through any type of crisis. So those kind of tips and strategies in this book can apply to that. And I really do want to share one thing though. I do say in here about, a parent stepping into their role as their child's most important influence, because for many, many years, a lot of parents have been putting that on childcare providers. They've been putting that on pastors and youth pastors. They've been putting that on the school system because they're so busy trying to earn a living. I get it. I totally can relate to that. I can understand that. However, this has forced us to look at ourselves, take a good look, even me, to take a good look at myself and say, I am my child's leader. I am my child's mentor, not my child's teacher. It's great for them to have them too. I promise you, teachers don't want to be the children's parents.
Yep.
They want the parents to rise up at home so that they can work in conjunction together and make this child have the best experience possible in their education and their well-being, learning life skills, right? Like I did with the daycare kids. I wanted to make sure that the parents knew the terminology I used with whatever I taught them and everything, because so they could reinforce it at home. That is a partnership, and that is what youth pastorship and teachers and mentors should be for our children. We should always, in my opinion, be their most important influence, because we're their parents. We brought them into the world. It's our job.
Wow. Man, you are so wise. I just love you. I can this is such great information. And, when somebody does something like this and we have to celebrate each other because it's a reflection, it's a journey, it's a process. And when I got to know you, it was through another friend. It was a connection to say, "Hey, you
Mhm.
two are like-minded. You need to connect." And we did immediately, right? And that's how you build
Yeah.
your tribe of people that you trust because
Mhm.
you really think the same way. And so I just love what you're doing because you've gotten on so many of these Facebook Lives and you're teaching people to have
Mhm.
the confidence in themselves to do so many things that they are just saying, I don't know if that's me, or I don't know if I can do that. And you just say, try it, right? Just try it.
Yep.
Hmm.
I say, do it wrong, do it messy, just do it. You can always tweak it later. You can't tweak no results. You can tweak bad results, but you can't tweak no results. So you've got to take action of some kind. And when you do, something grows inside of you. You grow into business, you grow into parenthood, you grow into leadership. With every kid, with every new business, with every new venture that you start, every new project that you start, you get better and better and wiser if you learn from your mistakes, if you learn from your bad decisions, right? And then when you get really wise in your life, you learn from other people's bad mistakes and decisions. That's the stage I've been in for a while. It's like I finally said, okay, I'm tired of me suffering this way. I'm going to just pay attention to what other people are doing wrong. So you start, and your children do that as well. They start saying, I do want these qualities of my parents. I don't want these qualities of my parents as they grow up, right? And they are watching to see how are you handling this crisis right now, because you are their safe place to fall. These children, if they are not able to be out on their own, and I promise you, even if they are, they're still feeling a little bit insecure and feeling, especially if they're young, like in their 20s or so, and they're new parents, like I'm going through that with my son. I'm sure they still have a little bit of insecurity and feeling like I need to lean on my parents. I need to know how my parents are handling this. I promise you it happens. And that's the thing. We all need to understand our roles as parents. We brought these kids into the world. It is our job to make sure that they understand how to handle this, because that's how they're going to handle it. And there's a line in my book that says, they're watching to see how you react. Will you crumble and complain, or rise and reclaim and
Mm,
reinvent yourself? It's
mm,
your choice.
mm. That is so
Because
important.
if you're sitting there watching Netflix all day and sinking down into the couch and eating Cheetos, they will do the same. If you're actually doing things like I've been watching the Rise Up Challenge, my daughter has been watching it with me. And she's like, oh, I like that guy. He was good, and she's getting personal development. It's never too soon to give your kids personal development.
Mm. Man, that is so powerful. What you've just said, right? What you've just taught us is that as a mentor, as a parent, the influence. And I'm going to go right back to my mentor, John Maxwell, that always talks about leadership as influence, nothing more and
Mhm.
nothing less, because it is everybody that's watching you right now, your friends, your family, your church members, your
Mhm.
community, your kids, especially. How are you showing up
Mhm.
every day? Are you getting up and taking a shower? Are you getting up and feeling like you have value for your life? Are you investing in your time? Are you reading books? Or are you saying, I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see how long this is going to last. Let's
Right.
go, let's go for a walk, but be afraid of everything and listen to the news all day long, right? That
Mhm.
is not what you want to be doing right now because your kids, especially, right, all these seniors. I think about all these seniors that their life has changed because of the expectations that people have put aside for them, right? They're to be
Mhm.
celebrated. They have achieved a lot. People are getting ready to go to colleges and try to make decisions based on the rest of their life. And these last few months, their proms, their graduations, all these things have been changed.
Mhm.
And what a great opportunity for us as parents and as community members and as leaders to show them there are other ways that you can celebrate your accomplishments, right? There are
Yep.
different ways, there are unique ways, there are things that are happening now on Facebook. I've seen adopting a senior. These are great ideas, and it's all the time that when something chaotic happens, this is when an idea begins, right? This is when the new ideas spark to say, we can't do it the same way, but now we can do it a new way.
Yes. I heard a phrase in the Rise Up Challenge saying that I think it was crisis births innovation, if
Yes.
I'm quoting it correct. Like it really forces you to become innovative. in a crisis. So you have to think of new ways to do things. It's not just the new normal, it's the new way of doing things. It's the new choices that we get to make, right? It's the new habits and patterns and everything. And you get to choose what the new normal is. Some things are beyond our, beyond our control, but a lot of things are within our control. They really are, like what we eat during the day and around our kids, how we behave during the day. Do we stay productive? And I say in the book, at least one goal every single day. I don't care if you're working on a business, you may not have a business, that's okay. Just one goal. I don't care if that's just to get the laundry done for the day or to get the fridge cleaned out. I mean, think of how many projects you can get done with this time right now. And then really, I even go into helping people. One of my gifts is helping people find their gifts, like pulling their gifts out of them, and by helping them realize what they care about and what they would enjoy doing. And then I help them find ways to monetize that in different, forms. Because there's just so many ways that you can use your talents. I mean, I have heard like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi came up with 4,500 niche specialties that people can choose from. I mean, 4,500. Do you even think there's that many out there? It's crazy. But there's just so many ways to share your gifts.
And it's amazing. And so all of us, have this unique story. We've all been affected by this, but all of us in different ways, and we're all processing it differently. So what I want to encourage you guys to do is connect to Traci. If you're struggling with anything, you need to go to Amazon right now and look up this book, Rise Up Mamas, and you can get it on Kindle. So you can get it, you can read it, whatever platform that you need to, and learn 15 chapters from her heart is what she wants to share with you. And I think it's just an amazing story. I'm so glad that you had some time to come and share this today, because, all of us need that one more thing. What's that one more thing that's going to give us that little bit of inspiration when we're having a little self-doubt to say, can I get through this? Can I make it? Can I just connect to somebody that's going to give me just that extra push to put a smile on my face?
Right.
And so, man, I appreciate you for doing this, for, taking the advice from your husband and saying, go write it down.
He always sees the best in me. He brings out the best in me, honestly. He's the best person I know. I mean, honestly, he really is. And he doesn't give himself enough credit. But we just have to, and by the way, I do Facebook Lives and things like that too. So I really push people to go beyond their comfort zone and do something that will make them stand out. And right now, especially, is the time when people are going to remember how you made them feel. So that is something I really want to throw out there, is like, your kids are going to remember how you made them feel. Were they feeling like a burden while you were home with them? Your spouse, were they feeling like they were getting on your nerves whenever they're home working while you're home working? And then people that you're approaching about your business, are you making them feel like a number? Like, I got one, kind of thing. Everything has shifted. It will not go back to the way it was, because I think people like the way they're feeling. I think they like getting back to the heart of things, because honestly, that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be human first. And then, that's what makes us leaders, honestly, is when we put other people first. And that what Simon says, take care. You're not in charge. You're in charge of the people who are, how does it go? The people in your charge.
The people in your charge. That's right. And so, because we both follow Simon Sinek, and I absolutely love him. What inspiration, right? His is inspire on. And so if you're looking for that one thing to get inspired with, there's so much out there, right? Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, Simon Sinek, Seth Godin, all these groups that are being formed. And so even if you just need that little bit of like, if I had a tribe of people that believe the same thing I did, if it's, collecting socks, I don't know, anything that you can do to feel like you're included and not isolated. That's the thing. If you're thinking about it, someone else is too. So get inspired, make that connection. If you need help, call myself or Traci, and we will make you think into it, because that's what we love to do. Celebrating leaders this week is what this is really all about through COVID-19, because so many people have reached out and said, I wonder how other people are dealing with this. And I wanted to know too. So, having you as a guest tonight, Traci, has just been a great inspiration because I love lifting people and sharing, like, you just didn't stop, right? Your story was a couple of years ago, and you're saying, okay, well, I don't know what's next, but you've moved into the house of your dreams. You have a new granddaughter. She's absolutely the light of your life. And here you're
Yeah.
writing this book during a traumatic time. And so that's exactly what everyday leaders do. That's exactly what everyday leaders do. We're challenged and we rise up to that challenge. So, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
This
I
was
appreciate
really
it.
this was really great. So, you guys go to Amazon, get the Kindle version. You can get it right now. Rise Up Mamas by Traci Sanders. And Traci, thank you so much. Continue to be that everyday leader and help us to rise up to the challenge.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon, Melanie.
Thank you, Traci. Be,
Thanks.
be safe down there.
Oh, you too.
Bye.